million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon, and I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions, they blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen, that shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven.
There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fucking fight back. You ain't never ever gonna break it. You can never beat them and they're better than you face it. Thinking that they give a damn, you're not, think a stray kid. No, they don't give a damn, you got what I'm saying? I'm not fucking playing, I'll give it to you straight, man. There's too many others and you're not that great, man. Stop what you're saying, stop what you're making. Everybody here knows that you just faking. Nah, I don't wanna hear it anymore, I don't wanna hear it anymore. All these fucking thoughts, they are not what I need anymore. I'm about to shut the motherfucking door on all you poor ass haters with your heads in the clouds, talking out loud so proud. You better shut your goddamn mouth before I do more speak out. It's about to head south. Never gonna make it. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Aren't you just gonna take that? Make them take it all back. Don't tell me you believe that. Aren't you just gonna take that? Or will you fucking fight back? Fight back.
To the bottom of the bottle, I've been drowning, I've been floating away. Every other dollar that I got in bed, I probably went and pissed it away. I ain't fucking okay, I ain't liking it, babe. I don't even wanna talk, I'm just smoking my haze. I've been stuck in my ways, I've been stuck in for days. I've been staring at the clock as the radio plays. I'm enslaved. Yeah, rolling another, I'm stuck in my seat from the whole control of my speech. Yeah, I've been trying to get off this couch for a minute and a whole damn week. No kidding, I'm skinny, I cannot eat. Got a million motherfuckers that depend on me. Yeah, every friend in my family, from a girl, every fan I meet myself. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts, like jumping off of that rooftop. Whole life ever when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yo, steadily killing me, running my brain full of shame, I don't wanna lose it. Full of stage, trying to find my pain. I see the sun coming out of that rain. My day really not tame, I'ma never slow down, I'ma never behave. Stuck inside this prison, inside this cage, it's taking over. Yeah, I'm a slave for you. Ripping 100 more less. Never stop, no rest. Till the stress is breath in my chest. Till it's diamonds wrapping my neck. Progress to a god from a goddamn mess. Hopeless, more tests. More blessed. Dug deep down trying to find my best. Find a beast, had to kill a conquest. I'm next. I'm too on till I'm too off. Come down, make new thoughts. Like jumping off of that rooftop. Whole life never when I do nothing to make moves based on my mood drops. Like who's lost? Like who's lost? It's yo, Stanley killing me, running my brain full of shame. I don't wanna lose it. I'm full of stage, trying to find my pain. I see something coming out of that rain. My team really not tame. I'ma never slow down. I'ma never behave. I'm stuck inside this place, inside this cave. It's taking over. I'm a slave for you.
Devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress, call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang bang, got my hand, call.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. Cheers. I'm so glad to see each and every one of you this morning. Cheers. Oh, yeah. That's good tea. Welcome, everybody, to Friday morning's Tea with a Hacker. I am your host this morning, Neil Bridges. Thank you Thank you so very much for joining me today. This is really the very best part of my week. Sitting down with you all at the end of the week, hanging out, having a good hot cup of tea at the end of the week, recounting all the awesomeness that was the week. I can't believe next week's Christmas. I can't believe that next week is Christmas. Like, it's been a year. It's been a year. Y'all realize that? Like, mind blown. Yeah, it is a masala chai morning this morning. I have to say that Friday mornings are starting to quickly become masala chai morning. If anybody's on Discord, which you should be, right? So hit ! Discord so you can get on Discord. In Healthy Hacker, Carmen posted the tea that we bought. We buy in bulk. We buy a ton of tea in bulk. And there should be a link in there to the Rishi masala chai. That I drink, and that's what's inside the mug today is some Rishi masala. I had the peppermint container and I had the masala chai container, and I was like, which one do I want this morning? Peppermint or masala chai? Peppermint or masala chai? And I did chose the masala chai. I'm gonna have to change it up for you. You're starting to know me a little too well. Awesome. Welcome to all of our new joiners as well as our regular visitors. Real conversations with real people, that is direct from one of our guests. This is our short format, so I am going to run through our intro pretty quickly. We do have moderators in chat. I want to personally thank all of my moderators each and every stream for their dedication. Moderators are here to keep chat free of sexist, racist, misogynistic, elitist, and otherwise toxic behavior. We have a zero tolerance for toxicity here on this channel. Zero tolerance for toxicity. I do trust my moderators explicitly, and their decision is final. If you are put on a timeout or a ban, you appeal to moderators, not to me, which is also a good reminder that if you're not in Discord, you do need to be in Discord so that you can talk to the moderators. With that being said, today is our Friday AMA chill session. AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. If you didn't know that already, what do I mean by anything? As you can see, people are asking me about my chai this morning. You can ask me about, I saw lots of questions coming up. You could literally ask me about anything. Like, I'll talk about anything. I will preface this by saying that I am Chief Content Officer of INE. All the opinions on this stream are my own. They're not sanctioned by INE whatsoever, and I am not an official outlet of any INE news. So don't take anything that I say to be the official news coming out of INE. Always refer back to the official social channels, but I do make myself available to talk about anything INE related on my streams as just a way to be accessible to everybody out in the community. I do ask that you do ask your question only once. Ask it only once. Asking it more than once may be considered spamming. It may result in a timeout or a ban. I do promise you that we do try to get as many questions as possible hit during the stream. You can tell because we've gone over several times. It used to be, just for those who didn't know, right? This stream used to be an hour long, and we used to be pretty diligent about keeping that stream to an hour. We've recently gone over an hour pretty consistently these last few streams. So that's just a testament that we continue to try to give you as much time as possible to answer as many questions as we can during the stream. This is Friday. We oftentimes do giveaways on Friday. Obviously, I want to continue to thank all of our partners. Please hit those ! Partners in chat to support our partners. Today's giveaway is brought to you by a couple different people. We have Friday Resupply with Josh Mason and the Cyber Supply Drop. So I want to thank Josh and the Cyber Supply Drop team for their support constantly. I also still have some Hack the Box stuff, or excuse me, some Try Hack Me stuff to give away that Ben had given me that we may get to today as well. And I've got a couple other surprises that may come along as well. If you tuned into last week's stream, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Digging it. Love it. All right, let's see what we got here. Fasochi rolling through with the questions already this morning. Like, I look at my queue and I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 from Fasochi himself. Don't you let Fasochi show you up on questions. Let's see what we got here. Pulled it into the wrong window. Let's see my OCD's now going crazy. My windows are all messed up. There we go. Got the windows up now. Here we go. Here we go. Got it. All right, here we go. Is the Narwhal meetup in Tampa still happening? So I will be, pay attention to channel info inside of Discord. I'm starting to post also maybe some of my travel excursions. So like this weekend, tonight, we're actually going to be in Richmond, Virginia. So if anybody in the Richmond area would like to do a happy hour, a drink, session or something like that, or maybe brunch tomorrow morning, you can let me know, send me a DM, and I might be able to meet up with you in Richmond, depending on when that's happening. The Tampa thing that he's talking about, we're not actually going to go to Tampa for Christmas this year for Sochi, but I'm going to Tampa in January to play golf with Net Abstraction CEO Gordon Lawson, as well as the MGM CISO in Tampa, as well as a couple other CISOs. So I will be in Tampa for that one in January. So pay attention to channel info for that, and that will be an opportunity to do. One of the things I'm going to start to do, and this is something that I'm going to look at as my travel starts to pick back up for 22, is making you all aware of where I'm going to be at, so that if there's anybody around in those regions that wants to do a meetup, wants to have a one-on-one session with me in person kind of thing, I'll be more than happy to make myself available for that. So make sure you tune into that as well. How's the Narwhal Commander doing? Any cyber secrets? There's always cyber secrets. You just got to figure out how to ask them. Am I going to volunteer any cyber secrets today? Maybe. We'll see how the day goes. We'll see how the morning goes. You know how it is. I gotta get a little warmed up before I drop right into cyber secrets. What are your views on Log4j? I do call it Log4j. I don't call it Log4j. Log4j. I mean, it's nasty. It's gnarly. Look, there's a lot of other people that are covering that. My 2 cents are on it is it's nasty. It's gnarly. Here's what I'll tell you. And I say this in all honesty. I've been in your shoes. I've been in every single one of your shoes, right? Where it's coming up, on the holidays, coming up on the weekends, and all of a sudden somebody drops a gnarly, vulnerability or exploit or piece of ransomware or who knows what, and all of a sudden you got to activate, all of the phasers, forward deflector shields, and everything, and go full force in terms of like protecting your organization. I can honestly say that this year is the first year that I haven't had to do that, because I'm not in like a full-time security operations mode, and it feels nice. It feels nice, I'll tell you that. But watching it from the outside, it looks pretty gnarly. It looks pretty gnarly. Lots of other people are doing a lot of other write-ups. There's going to be something awesome on INE today. Pay attention to INE today. We're actually going to, we're obviously going to be doing a Log4j INE live stream today as well. But we've also dropped. See, Fasochi, this might be your cyber secret. There hasn't been an announcement going out about this today yet. I'm not going to say this one. There hasn't been an announcement. Pay attention to INE today. You might find something pretty awesome, especially if you're a premium subscriber. You might find something awesome in your inbox today. Might find something awesome in your inbox today. Drop it! Drop it! It was like, Neil, do it. Do the cyber secrets. Do the cyber secrets. If everything goes to plan, so here you go. Here you go. See, look, that's it. That's the amount of peer pressure it takes for me to drop cyber secrets. If everything goes to plan today, right now I know John Hammond did a room on Try Hack Me for Log4j. To my knowledge, that's the only other room that's out there for people to practice Log4j until today. Because of our partnership with PTA, because of the integration that we're doing on the platform, today you should also have a lab from Pentester Academy to where you can do the Log4j, in our version of the Log4j room, hopefully on an attack and a defense perspective as well. So stay tuned. There may be one there as well. Pentester Labs has one too. Cool. I didn't see the announcement on that one, so I wasn't really sure. That wasn't a flex. That was more of just like I haven't seen an announcement on one, so I wasn't really sure. So thanks for pointing that out, and Tony. That was the only concern that I had there was I didn't want to. Definitely was not trying to do a flex. But it should be nice. Should be nice. I'm super excited for it. Super excited for that one. Just because I just now saw the time, it's 8:40. My second walkthrough for Advent of Cyber does drop in 20 minutes. So today's Advent of Cyber room, the walkthrough, the video guide for that one should drop in 20 minutes too. So do make sure that you tune into that if you are. I was actually super excited for doing today's Advent of Cyber room. I was actually really like, it was actually pretty fun for me. Not to say that the network one that I did earlier in the week wasn't fun, but this one was a lot more fun than the other one. Just because I saw this one at the top, decided not to use the new earbuds you were supposed to get. I actually have them right here. Not necessarily earbuds. I'm still in evaluation mode of these. These were the new ones that I got. Don't anybody run out and buy these yet, because I may be able to give you a discount code for these at some point in time in the future. I'm testing these out to see if these are any good. I decided not to use them yet this morning for this morning's stream, but those are the new ones that I've got, so stay tuned on that one. How do you stop yourself from eating everything available? Discipline. The same discipline that you need to study, the same discipline that you need to achieve your goals is the discipline that you need to not eat everything in sight. Listen, that's a hard thing. That's a super hard thing. Like, Carmen and I are both incredible foodies. We love to eat. That has been the hardest part of this diet or any other diet that I've ever actually done is the eating part of it. Why the switch from Twitch to YouTube? That's a long and arduous answer, Mitch Sequel. What I'd say is that just YouTube offers us a lot more opportunities and a lot less toxic environment than Twitch does. Arc Saber says, do you need to have good memory to be successful in security IT role? True or false? It's definitely false. Listen, I Google stuff all the time. When I was doing the Try Hack Me room for today's Advent of Cyber, I absolutely had to Google stuff. 100%. Absolutely had to Google stuff. And I actually put that into the video that I did, was some of the results of the Google food that I did as part of that. So I would say that, like, no, you do not need to be good at memorizing stuff. And as a matter of fact, I think you're failing miserably if you're memorizing things. Like, that's not the key to success in cybersecurity by any stretch of the imagination. This is one of the reasons why I've always hated just more anecdotal, right? When I look at some of the the certifications that are out there, when I look at some of the things like and I won't name any ones because I don't want to be accused of online bashing, you know, any specific certifications. But you've oftentimes heard me talk about, whether you're listening to this stream or listening to me, like I know I mentioned it this week on INE Live when we had our recap, right? You have cognitive-based learning, you have demonstrative-based learning, and everybody learns differently, and everybody learns differently percentages on those two different spectrums, right? Everybody's different in that regard. I still think that cognitive-based learning doesn't necessarily equate to memorized learning, right? I don't care how cognitively smart you are, at some point in time, you will have to look something up, right? It's just like RAM on a computer. It will eventually get full, and you will eventually have to clear out that RAM to make room for something else. And so I've never subscribed to test, and I've never put my backing behind test that required you to be cognitive only, memorization only from a testing perspective, right? And so that's been my take on it. Take it for what it is. I think the faster thing, the thing that I would encourage everybody to do is to take good notes and understand where to get good answers. I think what we struggle with in this day and age, right, is where to get good answers, right? Because you can Google something and you can get a ton of answers. And you may not necessarily know whether they're the good answers or the wrong answers until you actually like try them out and they either work or they don't work. And so that's why I usually keep like if you were to look at my phone, like I've got like a notepad where I keep like tons of resources. I've got bookmarks where I keep bookmarks of everything that I found that has been true, things like that. So I think that that's the easier thing to do, is to just try to keep a good catalog, almost like your own personal library of where you find good resources. Love talking about leadership questions. Neil, in your opinion, what is the root cause of bad leadership? I think Fasochi, this goes hand in hand to something you asked earlier, right? Which is, how can somebody become a good leader? I think to become a good leader, the first thing you have to do is learn to be a good follower. Let me say that again. To be a good leader, the first thing you have to do is learn how to be a good follower. What does that mean? Some of you might be followers now, and I would encourage you I'd encourage you to look at how you're following. Do you argue with your boss? And I'm not talking about, do you provide constructive feedback? I'm not talking about, do you correct them when they're wrong? I'm saying, do you argue with your boss because you think you're right, but you really don't know? Are you complaining because you get a garbage task at work, right? Are you complaining because you're asked to do something for the team that you don't want to do? Do you talk about the organization, right? Do you talk about the organization behind its back? Do you talk about the leadership behind its back? Do you promote dissension amongst the ranks, right? Those are the types of things. When you think about what kind of leader you want to be, think about what kind of follower you are, right? And so one of the things I would say is start by becoming a good follower. When you're a good follower, you recognize that everybody has to do things that they don't want to do, right? Lord knows I've been in that position, right? I have been asked to do parts of jobs that I didn't want to do. I can throw up my hands, I can bitch, whine, and complain. I can talk about what BS this is, and I didn't sign up for this crap, and yada, 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 yada. But there is this notion that what you're being asked to do at some level is required for the business to run. And there's a reason that you're being asked to do it. Now, you could be incredibly cynical about it. You could talk about, well, you're just picking on me. There's Jim Joe Bob over there in the corner who is a lower rank than me. Maybe you should ask him to do it. This job is below me or beneath me. I had somebody working for me. I can't mention the time period it was, because I think it'll still be a little too fresh. But, I ultimately had to let somebody go, right? Because of all of the things that I asked them to do, I needed them to take on a pretty huge responsibility. And they actually looked at me and said, that isn't written explicitly in my job description to do that. And I was like, you realize how important this is to the business and the organization. Well, yeah, I understand that, but it wasn't written in my job description, so not going to do it. Right? And so I think that to me, when I look back on my life, when I look back on some of the best leaders that I've had the privilege of working for, some of the worst leaders I've had the privilege of working for, right? When I look back on the folks that I've trained and the folks who have come up underneath me, I think that understanding how to be a good follower makes for a good leader. And so my opinion, the root cause of bad leadership, the same toxic behaviors that they had when they were bad followers, carried with them when they're leaders. And they think that because they got pooped on when they were followers, that they could poop on everybody else as a leadership position. I'll kind of leave that one at that one. It's hard to talk about leadership, right? Leadership is like, because here's the thing. When we talk about leadership is a very emotional conversation with yourself, right? Let's think about that for a second. When your boss comes and asks you to do something, you get emotional about what you're asked to do. Think about that. Think about who's gotten emotional about things that they've been asked to do. And when I say emotional for the good, emotional for the bad, right? Whether it's you're getting asked to do a crappy job or you're getting asked to do a job that you want to do, you get emotional about it. And when we bring emotions into our decision-making process, it clouds our judgment on whether that's a good decision or a bad decision. Okay? And so what I encourage everybody to do is to look at leadership in a dispassionate way, right? Look at leadership in a dispassionate way. People are chosen to be leaders. People are elevated into leadership positions, right? Notice I'm not, and just because I saw Brian say this, right? It's not a boss, right? It's a leadership position. You can be a leader at an individual contributor level. You can be a leader at anywhere else. But when you're thrust into leadership positions, you're thrust into that leadership position because of your ability to organize a disorganized scenario to achieve an objective. Notice I didn't say anything about you were chosen because you can make everybody like you. You aren't chosen for a leadership because everybody thinks you're the nicest person on the block or you're the meanest person on the block. You're chosen for leadership because of your ability to organize a disorganized situation and achieve an objective that is for the better of the current scenario. Okay? And so with that in mind, you can't bring emotion when leaders look at you and say, I recognize that you are skilled in this particular thing. You're skilled in X, and therefore, because you're skilled in X and we need to be successful, I need you to perform X. Now, you might not like what X is, but you're being chosen because for the betterment of the organization, you have a great skill that needs to be utilized to perform that. And that's what needs to be done. That's what it means to be a good follower. That good followership is what ultimately goes up to be good leadership, in my opinion. Listen, I just like being the latrine queen of the. Listen, I was on toilet duty. I'm not gonna lie, I was on toilet duty. I don't think anybody wasn't on toilet duty. It's not, but you have a role. You have a role to clean. Like, listen, here's the thing. If I didn't clean the latrines, the entire organization suffered. My entire flight was running extra laps. My entire flight was doing push-ups. My entire flight was getting yelled at. My entire flight had drill sergeants in their face. Did I like doing latrine duty? Absolutely not. But did I understand that if I failed my role, the entire flight suffered? And so think about that. Think about that. And this is just, again, just to follow up on this, I don't typically do this, but just because sometimes leaders don't properly utilize their skills and abilities. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where you have to learn a different skill about followership, and that is learning to lead from the bottom up. That is a completely different set of context, completely different, but that is also, like it or not, that is also a followership responsibility, is to learn best how to lead from the bottom up. So lots of conversations we could have about latrines and leadership. How to start security. If you are a total beginner, go do the free stuff first. Go watch all the YouTube videos out there. Go take all the free stuff on Try Hack Me. Go sign up for Pen Tester Student on I&E completely and totally for free. Go do the free stuff first. If you want to start in security and you are a total beginner, go start with the free stuff. This is such a broad question. How do I start? You're here right now listening to me. Guess what? You just started. I'm proud of you. You started right now. If you think you haven't started, but you're here listening to me, you've started. Ask me a question. What would you like to know? Like this. Perfect example. As fate would have it, when you get the feeling that you're job ready, don't let yourself be the barrier to determining when you are job ready. You should be applying for jobs right now. I don't care where you're at in the process. I don't care where you're at in the journey. You should be applying for jobs right now. You need to talk to people. I don't know you, Damu, from Carmen in the next room. I don't know you from... Actually, I do. I know that you weren't Carmen. That's a bad example. I wouldn't know you if you walked down the street, right? So I couldn't tell you if you're job ready today. Nobody in this circle, nobody in this Discord can tell you that you're job ready. Nobody can tell you that you're job ready. And that is the reason why you're letting yourself stand in the way of determining when you're job ready. You are job ready. You need to go out there. You need to be applying for jobs. You need to be putting yourself out there, and you need to be out there hustling it out, getting you a job. I think everybody who is listening to me right now is job ready in some way, shape, or form. We just have to find the round peg and the round hole and make them go together. My analogies are so bad today. My analogies are so terrible today. B-Sec says, what are your thoughts on NSA dropping a hot fix right as it was announced? Cyber secrets. I mean, I think you got everything you need to know right there. Listen, I can remember explicitly one time, Symantec at the time, when Symantec was somebody awesome to talk about, found one of our implants as part of an update to their signature pack. They called us and said, you might want to get on this. We realized what was going on. We spent the next 12 hours, all hands on deck, replacing every single one of those implants, knowing that Symantec was going to go live the next morning with a signature push that would have detected our implants. So with that operational, tactic in mind, that's what I think about that, right? Cyber secrets. Oh yeah, they dropped a fix, but they've already fixed it. They've been using it. Yeah. Well, I need to start mapping courses to the NICE framework from NIST. I'm tentatively sure that it is already done for a lot of the ELS courses. It may not be very well documented on the website. I will completely agree with you on that. But I think we actually do that right now with a lot of the ELS courses. It may just not be documented. I know that question has come up before, but I think it currently is being done right now. Andrew, Khalid says, how to survive in a country that has no interest in cybersecurity and barely sees jobs for only graduated engineers. You're probably talking about some of those folks, some of those jobs overseas. That's a hard one, right? Because I understand that it's very, very different in a lot of different countries. I would highly encourage you to seek out positions in consulting companies like PwC, EY, KPMG, right? Deloitte and Touche. Big fours are a little bit more lenient on things like that. I also think that, most of the consulting companies like Accenture, Cognizant, companies like that, those companies are also a little bit more lenient on things like that. And so I would think that those are places that I would start, and I would work towards those types of job roles. But I understand your frustration there. I know it's rough. Did your decision to leave the NSA have anything to do with moral or ethical reasons? Absolutely not. 100%. As a matter of fact, I loved everything about that mission. I loved, like, the thing that I missed the most is the actual mission. I miss knowing that I was serving my country. So just to elaborate on this question, right? It wasn't necessarily a decision to leave the NSA. It was a decision to leave the Air Force. And as part of my Air Force assignment, I was tasked and assigned to working, as part of the mission at the National Security Agency. And so it was a decision to leave the Air Force. And the reason that I make that distinction, right, is because I chose to go into the Air Force to serve my country. And I don't necessarily, when Edward Snowden did his leaks afterwards, right? That happened to be the year that I got out, was when Snowden dropped all of his leaks and everything else, right? I watched all of that unfold, and I was like, holy cow, I just left that organization, right? And I was like, I know all this is here. I know it's all real. I've seen all this, or most of it anyway. And I still didn't feel like it was unethical or immoral. The mission that we had, listen, and I've stayed relatively quiet on this. And I don't want to get into an Edward Snowden debate, because I don't think it's for me, it's not a black and white thing. In some cases it is, in some cases it's not, right? He broke the law. He's a traitor, right? He should be tried for his crimes, right? I do believe in the rule of law. I do believe in the American legal system, right? I do believe that the justice system does have to play itself out, right? And so he broke the law. He stole classified information. He gave it to several foreign entities. Whether you like it or not, right? He broke the law. Were we doing those things? Yes, but we were doing them because poop had hit the oscillating device in the ceiling, and we had no idea what to do. If you want to believe anything else, believe that we had no effing clue what to do after 9/11 to stop it from happening again. We had no idea. None whatsoever. And so as a result, that was what we thought we needed to do to protect this country. And so we did it. In retrospect, was it the right decision? I don't know. I have no more of an idea of that than I have over whether waterboarding, right, was the right decision or not. I know that was the mission. I know that I executed the mission to the best of my abilities. I know that I personally oversaw situations that made that situation better. I know from personal experience that the technology that we use, the way that we employed it in some of these countries, the weapon systems that we employ in some of these countries stopped bombings. I know for a fact. They stopped bombings. But it had nothing to do with my decision to leave. My decision to leave had everything to do with the fact that I blew out my knee, and I couldn't do PT test anymore. And apparently you got to be able to run 1.5 miles in 8 minutes if you want to be a computer hacker for the United States Air Force. But no, I didn't leave for any moral, ethical reasons. I fully believe in the arm of the government, and I think that you know, I'm not saying all of government, but at least our intelligence agencies, you know, our military arm, you know, our you know, counterintelligence capabilities at the CIA. I wholeheartedly believe in those. The things that I've seen, absolutely. Yep. So, how often do you shave your head? Every time I shower. I won't shave my head outside the shower, right? I'll never shave my head outside the shower. Like, trying to dry shave my head over a sink, worst experience ever. So, shower every day, shave my head every day. Yeah. It's crazy. Maybe 8-minute mile and a half. It's 8-minute mile. So 12-minute mile and a half. So it took me a minute. 8-minute miles, 12-minute mile and a half. When you blew out your knee, that's pretty hard to do. Gillette. Yeah. Sorry, getting to think about like my old military days brings a lot of stuff up. Hello, Neil. Happy the coming new year. I have a question. Do you think learning a little bit of intelligence tactics will improve the commercial hacker? Any idea how to learn it? I'm not sure what the commercial hacker is. I'm pretty sure hopefully you're just talking about just, you know, trying to do hacking for ethical reasons and not malicious reasons. But I absolutely think that learning a little bit of intelligence tactics is absolutely an awesome thing for everybody to learn. I do have to say that one of the things that I had a massive respect for, but I didn't have a respect for it until I started doing military work, was the impact of geopolitical politics on offensive cybersecurity operations, right? And I'll give you a case in point. I was building an op plan one time, and I wanted to launch an attack against an Arab country from another Arab country. And the Arab country that I had picked, I couldn't launch the attack from that Arab country because of some very intertwined geopolitical reasons that dated back to before I ever joined the military. And it was something that I never would have known had I not started to like pay attention to information warfare, information operations, ops, and things like that. And so that was something that I'll never forget, and I think is one of the biggest, like when I talk about the biggest things that I've learned with my time in the military, was the impact of geopolitical influence when you're conducting cyber operations. Andrew White says, "Hey Neil, first time question. Would you recommend learning Python along with hitting up cybersecurity training in Linux?" Absolutely. I think Python's an invaluable skill. I think Python is awesome. I do love it. Fasochi, look, now I got to look through all these questions and get past all the Fasochi questions. Good grievy. What's a good book to read on bug bounties? Not sure. Not really sure. Good book to read on bug bounties. Haven't really read bug bounties. I don't think that there's a, like, I guess I'm still, incoming raid from Gerald's stream. Yay! Everybody's coming in from Gerald's stream. Glad to see everybody coming in from Gerald's stream. Hope you had a good session hanging out over, talking first things first with Gerald. I know I missed the raid functionality from Twitch. Hopefully 22 brings some changes to YouTube. And Jerry and I actually talked about this when he was going to do first things first. We were trying to figure out a way to do the raids, to do the redirects, but you know, YouTube doesn't allow that. So hopefully that becomes part of that new and improved feature set from YouTube. Kay says, I had a junior pen test interview on Wednesday. Congratulations, but I wasn't accepted. I needed to learn more. But back to the question about knowing when you're job ready. This is the way. This is the way for sure. Right? This right here, this is why I tell you to apply for roles, right? Is because now you know what you don't know. Now you absolutely know what you don't know. Now you can go back and learn. Now you can know, now you know that for this job, for this, the way that this job posting is written, for this type of interviewer, in this scenario, this is what you need to be successful in that role. And I think that that's what, I think that that's what you need to be focused on, right? Is how do you hedge your bets? How do you gain as much intelligence as much as possible so that you can be successful in the interview process? I don't think that there is like a, you need to be this high to ride this ride before you start applying for roles. I don't think cyber works like that. I'm going to go ahead and, now that we're getting folks in from Jerry's stream, I'm going to go ahead and actually set up the giveaway. We're going to set up one of the first of the giveaways that we'll do today. We'll welcome everybody in over from Jerry's giveaway. I know Jerry struggles with giveaways pretty extensively, so you know, we'll help him. We'll help him out by giving some folks who are coming over from his stream something. Hopefully Jerry likes my little poke as I give him some flack for that. Let's see what we can give away this morning. I do have a lot in my queue to give away. Actually, we'll start with we'll start with a pretty good size one. We'll start with a pretty good size one. Hold on, let me set it up. Don't everybody rush to hitting it yet. Let's edit this out. We're gonna pick this from our giveaway. All right, listen, right now is a great time to remind you. I'm going to give it, before we run this, I'm going to give everybody a minute. Make sure you're in Discord. Hit that exclamation point Discord. Make sure you are in Discord, right? You're going to want to be in Discord. Josh, are you in my ear? I don't know if you're in my ear, if you're prepping for INE Live today. Filtered Thought, thanks for becoming a member. Welcome to the Cyber and Security membership team. Glad to see you there. Not a basic question. Sorry. Gerald Auger, Jerry's a good friend of mine, fellow content creator, runs Simply Cyber. Love collaborating with him. Him and I have collaborated on a lot of things in the past. Mad respect for Gerald Auger. Think he's an awesome dude. Okay, so Josh isn't in my ear today. Message me on Discord. So when I call your name, so you're gonna message me for this giveaway on Discord. So all the more reason, make sure you are on Discord. So we're gonna run the giveaway. Here's what's gonna happen. Don't spam exclamation point raffle. You only have to hit it once. I promise you that while Streamlabs might be incredibly slow, Streamlabs does pick up about the raffle. So I promise you that Streamlabs does see it. Okay. When Streamlabs tells you that the raffle is complete, that is not cue to continue to spam raffle when the raffle is complete. Okay. Mods are getting very, very finicky when it comes to the raffles. So when I call your name, you'll have about like 2 minutes. Right? So pay attention, right? Don't assume that when I call the name that everybody leaves. I've told you we've got tons of giveaways today, and we also oftentimes frequently have people who don't pay attention and don't message who they need to message. Let's see what we got here. Here we go. We got one about recruiters. Recruiters prefer candidates with experienced certs. What to do if I have none? That is a fallacy. That is a fallacy. It's not the recruiters that prefer you have experience or certs. It's the hiring managers who write the job descriptions. Remember that. Hiring managers write job descriptions. they pass through HR and recruiting before they go out to the job post. Okay? Your first task, your first hack, if you will, is to fool HR and recruiting that what you have is actually experience. This is why there's an entire series on YouTube about hacking your LinkedIn and hacking your resume so that whatever you do have looks like experience. Now, if you truly have nothing, like you woke up today, right? You're in high school, you've never heard of cybersecurity, you graduate high school today, you've never thought about cybersecurity, you wake up today and you're like, I want to be in cybersecurity. You've done nothing other than like saw Swordfish and thought it was the coolest movie in the whole world. Then yeah, you're right. Nobody's going to look at you. Right? But lucky enough for you, in our resume and LinkedIn hacking videos that are on our YouTube channel, you can see how you can create experience out there in the world. Most of you probably are like, well, that's too much work, Neil. I'm not going to go watch your old videos. Can't you just tell me now? Absolutely, I'll tell you now, but you should still go over there and watch the videos because they're good information on the videos. Number one, you need to be getting hands-on practical experience through online labs, not build it home labs, anything like that. Online labs like Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, Range Force, Pentester Academy, right? Places like that. You need to be getting hands-on experience. You can go out today, literally in that I woke up today and I want to be in cybersecurity. You can go sign up today. Listen, this part is very important. You can go sign up today for BugCrowd, HackerOne, Cobalt.io as a bug bounty researcher, and you can start doing unpaid pen test today. Guess what that is? Guess what an unpaid pen test is? It's called experience. Okay? So this is when people ask this question, what they're really asking is, how do I get a job when I don't have a job? And we oftentimes like to think of ourselves as hackers, but yet we can't hack our way out of our own head when it comes to what the definition of experience really is. Right? If you're going to hack the system, the first thing you have to start to hack is to figure out what experience looks like to an HR or a recruiting person. And it looks like your demonstrative ability to do the job. What do you think doing unpaid pen test for HackerOne or BugCrowd are? If you can't hack your way out of your own head, let's start there. Tune in more for nuggets of information, cyber and security. How? If you put on your LinkedIn that you are a bug bounty researcher, that you are a cybersecurity researcher, that you're an ethical hacker researcher for BugCrowd and for HackerOne on your LinkedIn, how are they going to assume that you're a malicious hacker? If you're doing Try Hack Me's and Hack the Boxes, how are they going to assume that you're a malicious hacker? That is a branding issue, which I would also encourage you to head over to the videos that I just mentioned on our Ultimate Career playlist and talk about branding. Right? We talk about branding. That's because you can't type. I just saw that and I had to get that plug in there for you, Brian. You've been bearded. It does look like the raffle has closed. I'll answer this question and then we will roll for a winner. Now it's time to remind you for the 700th time to make sure you are in Discord. You are going to message me in Discord. You'll see me at the top of the list, IT Junkie, when I call your name. What different similarities do you notice in leadership in cyber in the military versus the private sector? I wouldn't actually call it, I don't think that there's a cybersecurity difference when it comes to leadership. I think the difference in leadership, and this was, I say this when people talk about, Neil, what was your biggest aha moment when you left the military, right? In the military, if I told an airman to go clean the latrines, right? Just as we were talking about latrines earlier, right? That's a lawful order. He has to go do it. He or she has to go do it. Right? He or she has to go do it. That's a lawful order. In this private sector, if I told Josh Mason or Jack or Brian, for that matter, to go clean the latrines, they would laugh at me. They would probably say some expletives to me. They'd probably laugh some more after that. They'd probably point and laugh. They would probably say, "Are you freaking high?" I mean, I couldn't even imagine the amount of expletives that would come out of their mouth. Right? And they would say no. And there isn't anything I could do about it. Now, the latrine example, that's an extreme one, but that's the difference, right? You have to learn to lead by building partnerships and relationships. To be effective at leadership, you have to learn to lead through partnerships versus being told what to do. And I just realized that was Mac Lawson that asked that question. Mac, I'm so glad to see you back in chat. I'm so glad to see you back around. I miss having you around. Welcome back. Excited to maybe play some golf with you at the end of December. Didn't Josh Mason outrank you? He did. But again, I think Josh impresses me as the type of officer that I could have built a really good partnership with. Like, that was one of the reasons why I utterly enjoy working with him now is, there's a difference between, listen, the Cybersec Mom, thanks for the super chat. Glad to see you in chat as well. Always glad. Hopefully you're doing well over there too. I think that's one of the biggest things that is misunderstood about leadership, right? And Brian, I think it was you that made the distinction earlier about having a boss versus being a leader, right? A boss tells you what to do. He cracks the whip at you and he's like, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that, right? A leader builds relationships and builds partnerships. That doesn't change. If you are good at that in the military, you're good at that in the private sector, right? And I think when you're good at building partnerships, ranks don't matter. Ranks don't matter. Because you realize that you're there to achieve the mission and you're all in it together. I've had officers come down to a set of us NCOs and they're like, we've got the worst tasking ever. How do we as leaders get everybody motivated to be successful? And you've got that officer that's sitting there with enlisted, trying to figure out how to get the team to partner together to do the tasking, other than coming down and saying, you must do the tasking. And so back to Mac's question earlier, right? Partnerships make some of the best leaders that are out there, in my opinion. And Ty says, thanks for the $5 super chat. A good leader is known of their subordinates. All right, let's roll for the winner for a 6-month try hack me voucher. Remember, you're going to message me in Discord. I think I've given everybody enough time to hop into Discord. This one is care of Josh Mason and Cyber Supply Drop. So do make sure you hit those exclamation point partners, hit exclamation point CSD, and do support Josh Mason on Cyber Supply Drop. Brian Godfrey with the 6-month Try Hack Me voucher. Brian, message me in Discord to claim your prize. I love talking about leadership. I do love talking about leadership. I have a very, I don't want to call it unique or different. Cybersec Mom with the super chat. Thank you so much. Glad to see you again. No. See, look. Why is Jerry throwing shade? Why is Jerry throwing shade? You learned it from me, and I'm just reiterating to you how smooth it works every single time. Every single time. God. Still wait. Brian, can you hear me? Brian, if you can hear me. Message me in Discord, Brian Godfrey, for your 6th month. Try Hack Me. But I'd hate to re-roll. I'd hate to re-roll for you. I know you're around, unless you fell asleep. I know it's like 4 o'clock in the morning in New Zealand for you. Henry says, hey, Neil, any advice on getting remote internships? Keep trying. Here's the thing. That's another one of those from like a leadership perspective, right? Some leaders don't want to take on remote interns because it's hard to teach remote interns. It's hard to teach remote interns. Most leaders haven't figured out, right? They're used to having interns where they can give you something to do, help you do it, watch your, shoulder surf you, have you shoulder surf them over and over and over and over and over and over again. Right. And so, I think that's where a lot of leaders are still struggling with. How do I do remote internships? And so that leads them to not wanting to do remote internships. I think that's the hard part when it comes to those remote internships. But I think that, like, I still say do the networking thing, find you some folks who, who you can, you can network with, ask them if they're open to internships, things like that. Why would I answer one of your questions? I'm just kidding, dude. I miss you. How do you know, or how do you empower others instead of doing it yourself? I did an ERA, enterprise risk assessment, myself, a lot of time, but hard to pass it off knowing how I need it done. Excellent question. Brian, if you can hear me. Oh, I see you. Never mind. All right. You almost got re-rolled on, buddy. Here you go, Brian. Here's your 6-month Try Hack Me voucher. There you go. All right, congratulations to Brian on that one. We do still have some more stuff to give away, so don't anybody go anywhere. We'll roll for that stuff here in a little bit. This is one of the hardest parts about leadership, especially when you come up through doing stuff yourself, right? Whether it's pen testing, whether it's an ERA, whether it's incident response. Give you an example, right? I was leading the cybersecurity efforts for I&E before I hired Jack, right? So, cybersecurity is my baby, and now I've got to lead the entire content team, networking, data science, everything else. And I've got to trust Jack to execute, the vision for cybersecurity content, with my expectations in mind. It's never easy. It is never easy. And this is one of those things where, as leaders, you have to trust first. You have to trust first, which means that you're going to fall first, which means that you're going to be the one who has to, get outside of your comfort zone as a leader to let it happen. Now, there are some right ways and there are some wrong ways that I see about going about doing this, right? I've seen leaders turn something over to somebody, right? I've seen leaders turn something over to somebody and then they micromanage it so much that it becomes, what was the point of even letting this other person run it? Right? So that's kind of that pendulum going the other way where it's like, why did you even turn it over to them if you're just going to micromanage the crap out of them so that they have no other choice but to basically be a surrogate of you? And then you have to ask yourself as a leader, what have you actually really accomplished when you do that? Right? Right? If your goal as a leader is to have people around you, have people surrounding you that have different opinions, that have different ideas, that are different creative thinkers, right? Things like that. What was the point of you delegating something to them to have it executed through your micromanaging responsibility? And then what have you saved in time? Right? And so I don't think that that's the right way to go about doing it. And so what I have found to do is, again, through that partnership, right? And again, if Jack were here or SecIT guy were here, I'd ask him to chime in with his thoughts on this as well. I set an expectation. Hey, I want you to know this is something that I care very, very much about. This is something that I put a lot of heart, sweat, blood, and tears into, and it means a lot to me. Please take care of it. I'm trusting you to take care of it. I want you to understand the magnitude of the responsibility that you have to take care of this thing for me. And if you ever need any questions answered, if you have any doubts in your mind, please let's talk about them as quickly as possible. And so it's that type of relationship building, it's that type of partnership that I try to build with the person that I turn that type of super awesome project over to say, this is important to me and I need you to take care of it, right? But that's kind of how I see it. I don't think that that's the only way to do it, but I definitely think that that is one of the ways to do it. Will we see INE sub giveaway in the new year? I do have one more INE sub to give away for December. I haven't given it away yet. Care of Query.ai. Query.ai does provide monthly INE subs. Andrew Maloney, the COO over there, does do that. We have not given that sub away yet in December, and we only have a handful of streams to go. So you will see an INE sub given away in December. You will see an INE sub given away in December. Brian says, how about this morning? We'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Certification question from Hellfire. Hello and good evening. I have a question regarding certification. I'm currently learning for Net Plus, and then after that, do I go for PMPT or OSCP? Please let me know your thoughts on this. Depends on what your goals and objectives are. I assume because you're choosing those that it's pen testing, and I think that that's a perfectly acceptable path. I think that there are multiple paths. I think if this is the path you want to choose, listen, this is one of the other things, right? This is one of the other things I talk about. There is not one path. There is not one path. There are multiple paths. There are multiple paths. And I think that if you like this path, if you have reviewed the syllabi. Hey, where's my PhD? Gerald with the PhD. Is it syllabi or syllabuses or what? If you've reviewed the curriculum for these courses and they're in line, right? If they're in line with what you want, if the instructors are in line with how you like to learn, then I'd say go for it. But that's how you should be picking, right? Is this the right path for you? I don't know. Is that the path that you want to take? You should chase the knowledge, not the certs. Are the instructors somebody you can resonate with? Does it get you hands-on experience? Do you like the curriculum? They're both equally useless. syllabi, apparently. Thank you for the toss up there, BSEC. I appreciate that one. Piggybacking off Jerry, if you want to empower others and if they fail, you fail, which in turn makes you look bad up the chain. How do you empower them and not ultimately fail? Failure is a part of the recipe for success. Right? Failure is part of the recipe for success. Everybody fails. I know that we're all afraid of failure. You shouldn't be afraid of failure. You should not be afraid of failure. You should not be afraid that if you fail one time, you're going to look bad up the chain. Right? It's not a binary decision about failure, right? It's not a, oh my God, if I fail this one time, my entire leadership is going to look down on me and say, I am the worst manager, leader, SOC director, CISO, whatever, everywhere. If you do, you have the wrong leadership, or you have you've done something else to set that precedence with your leadership. You did that long before this one failure. You did that long before this one failure. If this one failure makes you look bad, then you have done something else holistically. You have failed to build the relationship with your leadership team, right? When you empower others and they fail, what I would ask you is, did you have the right check-ins with them? Were you measured in your approach to providing them feedback? Did you again, I talk about the micromanaging side. There's also the pendulum, the other side, which is, hey, go do this task and I never want to see or hear from you again. And then they fail miserably, right? You still have to check in with them the same way you would check in with anybody else who's under your charge. You just have to do it in the right measured fashion, right? And so if they failed, then I would ask where you failed in your measured approach to guiding them in taking over that task. But I would never in a million years let the fear of failure impact my ability as to whether I told somebody that they needed to take over this particular process or project or function or whatever the case is. I wholeheartedly believe, one of the conversations that I've had recently with folks, and I talked about it on stream, right? You have to embrace failure. But what I think that people are afraid of with failure is they're afraid that it makes them look bad. When in fact, it's not the failure that makes us look bad. It's either the failure to learn from that failure, or it's a failure to change directions in the right direction after the failure, right? It's that concept of failing faster, right? You fail fast. Oh my gosh. I just suddenly was flushed with the massive amounts of times I failed in my life. I was given a presentation to the CIO about an incident one time. And I misidentified the business unit that was impacted. And it was a business unit that had a different financial response plan than the one that had actually been impacted on the incident. It may seem minor, but when you're briefing the CIO at the CIO level, right, that's what we're talking about, right? And I didn't realize it until we had gotten to the call to action towards the end of the meeting, that the entire beginning part of the meeting, I was basically identifying the wrong business unit that had been impacted by the incident. And I took a minute and I stopped the meeting with the CIO. And it's not like it was me and a bunch of my peers, right? It was like the CIO, the CISO, the CFO, the EVPs from the business units, right? It was an executive tier meeting. And I stopped the meeting and I said, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. At the beginning of the meeting, I said it was business unit X. It's not business unit X. It was business unit Y. And I admitted the mistake right there on the spot and said that I apologized for making the mistake at the beginning. Here's the business unit that was impacted. And in that particular case, they said, it's all right, Neil. We understand incidents are, fire drills. Everybody's running a million miles an hour. It happens. Let's talk about this. It's that ability to rapidly pivot, admit your mistakes, get everybody back on board to work in the right direction. That's what I think is important about failure, right? And the right leaderships that understand you, the right leaderships where you've built good partnerships will be like, hey, it's all right. It happens. Thanks for correcting it. You didn't leave the meeting. You didn't have us do this entire response plan over here. You didn't have us waste tons of time, tons of money, tons of effort on something that didn't matter, right? And so therefore, everything is good because that's what people care about. Failing faster. I know that was a long, huge diatribe when it came to that conversation, but hopefully that made sense. Yasmin says, I'm interested in the cloud security. Should I pick Azure or AWS? I think you should do both, but if you have to pick only one, I'd start with AWS and then move to Azure. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with picking Azure and moving to AWS. I think that it's 50-50 in that question. What about if the boss is completely out of his league and makes rash decisions? Learn to lead from the bottom up. Listen, you want to talk about building relationships? When you are able to lead from the bottom up and you're able to do it without making your boss feel terrible, without belittling him, if you're able to build that partnership that says, hey, let me help you out with that. Hey, maybe that's not necessarily the right decision to make. Hey, let's temper this and let's do this. Like if you don't embarrass him in front of his peers, him or her in front of his peers, if you're able to build that relationship, that's how you do that when you lead from the bottom up. And I think that's the answer to that right there is even if you have a boss that's out of your league, lead from the bottom up. What are your thoughts about tech companies that do criteria cognitive aptitude test? Not sure I'm familiar with criteria cognitive aptitude test. Is this like Briggs-Myers? I'm not a fan of Briggs-Myers. If that's what you're asking, like, I utterly hate Briggs-Myers test. Utterly hate Briggs-Myers test. Answer that one. I've seen a lot of SOC analyst positions lately asked for CYSA Linux Plus. I'm scheduled to take both soon. Should I apply anyway? Absolutely, you should apply. Absolutely. Was that worst intern in my ear? No, that was next worst intern in my ear. Ryan says, recently moved to a completely new state. How do you suggest someone would network in the area with no prior connections? Besides, sometimes there's like, I'd use Meetup. I think Jerry has talked about this before. Keep me honest on this one, Jerry. I see you in chat still. But I think there's Meetups that you can do, local hacker spaces. Those would be the types of things that I would look for, or just simply, go on LinkedIn and be like, hey, I see you're in cybersecurity in area X and I'd love to network with you. Can you let me know about some meetups in the area? I think with the way COVID has encouraged everybody to search for online meeting places and look for networking opportunities, I think people are much more prone to responding to messages, on LinkedIn when it comes to like, hey, where can I network with people in location X? Oh, Rodney Flores. I see Cyber Roflo hanging out in chat. Glad to see Cyber Roflo. Good morning, Neil. What are your opinions on working cybersecurity for the Big Four, specifically as a SOC analyst wanting to move to differ threat hunting type roles? I am always a fan. For as much stuff as much bad as I talk about, and I don't necessarily talk bad about Big Fours, but I'm very transparent on how painful it can be sometimes to work for a Big Four. I think that everybody should experience life at a Big Four at some point in time in their career. I think everybody should experience working life at a Big Four, or at least like a big consulting company, right? We oftentimes talk about the Big Four, but don't forget there's Booz Allen, there's Accenture, there is Cognizant, I think is becoming quite a big consulting company now. I know that there's more. I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but the list of large consulting companies has expanded pretty significantly. And so I think that the biggest reason that I would see, specifically to your question, Rodney, specifically as a SOC analyst wanting to move to different threat hunting type roles, because as a SOC analyst for these big companies, for these big consulting companies, you're going to see a ton of different scenarios. This is the same advice that I give to anybody who's looking to take a job in a consulting type of role, right? Capgemini, thank you, Gerald. That was one that I couldn't remember either, Capgemini. Consulting roles allow you to see the problems of hundreds of people, right? And so when you see the problems of hundreds of people, you're effectively getting an accelerator on your learning, right? And think about that for a second. We oftentimes talk about experience. We talk about learning. We talk about, how to get that experience. You can work for one company and you can get experience for what that company's architecture looks like, what that company's challenges are, what that company's business units are. Like when I worked for the life sciences company, I only ever knew how that life sciences company did their business model. Right? When I worked for a consumer retail products company, I only knew how they did their business model, right? And so that was two companies that I had to spend 8 years working on to learn how two companies did it, versus the time that I was at a Big Four, or the time that I worked on consulting companies, right? I got to see probably 10 different companies with 10 different challenges, with 10 different architectures, and try to solve 10 different problems for all those different companies. And so that's why I'm a huge fan that if you're trying to get into cybersecurity, you should spend some time in consulting. And I think Big Fours are one of the best places to go and see those. Now, on the SOC analyst side, right, you're going to be working for their internal MSP. So you're not going to necessarily be client facing, right? What does that mean? Well, if you're not client facing, you're really only looking at the glass and you're really only responding to the incidents, typically in a SOC analyst type position, right? You're probably going to pass those over to another company's SOC team to have them work on the incidents, basically. I also think that there's value in that, but I also think that there is value in actually being a part of the consultancy where you are actually client facing. Because then you actually get to interact with the CISOs. You actually get to interact with the CIOs. You get to interact with the directors of cybersecurity, the directors of risk and governance, the directors of the security operations team, right? You get to interact with all of those different folks. And that gives you not only an amazing perspective on the organization, but it also gives you the ability to see the challenges from a different leader perspective, because the challenges, and I Jerry and I give each other crap all the time, right? But I have mad respect for Jerry because he does enjoy the GRC side of things. And I will never understand that. I will never understand his role. I'll never understand his challenges the same way that he does. And so I need his partnership and I need to understand life from his perspective so that I can be a better cybersecurity person on the technical side and on the practical side. Okay? And so I think that that's why the client-facing external part of this, I think that that part of consultancy is incredibly valuable. So lots of opinions on Big Four consultancy. I think the bluff or the bottom line up front is, you know, if you're looking for a good rotation, spend some time in industry, spend some time in consulting, go back to industry, go back to consulting. Never in a million years. My opinions on third-party risk were made pretty clear the last time Jerry and I sat on stream together. Josh Mason, have you heard about the 27 SOCs running vuln scans on MC-130Js? What are your thoughts on the idea of pen testing aircraft? Not this last year. God, when was the last in-person DEF CON? 2 years ago now, right? Yeah, 2 years ago. 2016? No, 2017? 2018, 2019. God, I can't. Yeah. So the 2019 DEF CON, they had an aircraft village, aviation village at DEF CON to do pen testing on aircraft. I spent a lot of time there. I actually thought it was that was a lot. I thought it was pretty cool. I think it's awesome. Glad to see they're doing it. Read through some of these questions. Actually, let's I do have some more stuff to give away. Let's head back over to my bucket of goodies and let me see what I have in my bucket of goodies to give away. Let's see here. I tell you what, let's give away. Well, we're going to pick two winners for this next one. We're going to give away 2 coupon codes for a Linux 101 course. So Doc Jade, he's a very active member of this community. He went out and did a course on Linux 101 that he put up on TCM Academy. He gave us some vouchers for that one. So let's give away some Linux 101. So for those of you who are looking for some good Linux training, some very awesome Linux training, this is going to be what you're interested in right here. So we're going to go ahead and run that one. Make sure you are in Discord. You're going to need to be in Discord to message me for this one. But we're going to give away, we're going to pick 2 winners for Doc Jade's Linux 101 course. I want to thank Doc Jade for supplying us with those. Make sure you do show some crazy love for Doc Jade in Discord, as well as on social media. Should I take CCNA courses? I mean, missing some context there, but generally, yes, I think you should take some CCNA courses. Generally speaking, I think you should. I think you should know networking, right? Like, one of the things I say is, like, when I took CCNA a long time ago, they had 2 books. It was ICND1 and ICND2. I think ICND1 at a minimum is what everybody in cybersecurity should know. That's my opinion. Why does Google organize different internships for SDEs and STIP internships, but nothing for penetration testers? I have no idea. I mean, because honestly, get the soapbox out. Because penetration testing represents such a small, insignificant function in the broader IT and cybersecurity arena than what everybody else on social media or in the industry or in movies wants you to believe. Okay? Because it is so insignificantly minute in the grand scheme of cyber defense that they get better candidates that impact the organization more by doing internships here. This is a prime example of somebody or some mentality that thinks that pen testing is so huge, and it's really not. And again, this is coming from somebody who has been in this space for well over 20 years, right? We all love pen testing. We all love to hack stuff, but it is so small when it comes to actual defense of an organization. Oh, I got to remember to remove some of these questions from the queue as I get to them. How do you train yourself to follow a leader who you deem is bad, etc.? It doesn't help the team, doesn't check work, giving wrong instructions to complete the task. Do you got a job? Are you paying your bills? Are you learning something? Do you get free training? Right? You got to start looking at some of the extracurricular stuff that goes on around like the job. Like here's the hard part, right? Here's the hard part. There's a dichotomy that's existing now, right? Where people are like, oh, I'm just going to stay at a job. Like I've had people think that they could stay at a job now for like freaking 6 months and move on to something else, right? Like, oh, I hate my boss and I've been here for 6 months. Deuces, I'm out. Right? Like that's the job market that we're in right now. Like I've seen people leave jobs after a few months, right? I've let people go before in the last 5 years who have only been with me for a few months, right? And it's okay. And so like how do you train yourself? I'm glad that you're even thinking about how do you train yourself to follow a leader, because most people that I know in this job market would just be like, I hate this leader, I'm out. Right? So good on you for thinking about that. I still think, Arc Saber, that this is a function of leading up. Leading up. You have to learn how to lead up. I saw a couple here that I wanted to just that kind of came in randomly here. Oh my gosh, where was it? This one from George says, right, as an example of how small pen testing is, I work for an MSP that employs over 300 people, and we have 2 pen testers and 1 manager for them. Exactly. In most of the Fortune 1000, right, in most of the Fortune 1000, if they have a pen testing team, it's less than 5. I don't think I know of many. I can name a few, but I don't think I know of many Fortune 1000 companies that if they have a pen testing team have more than 5 pen testers. But they have hundreds in other places. Right? This is why when everybody gets into cybersecurity, they're like, oh my God, I want to be an ethical hacker. Right? Anybody remember that meme? Anybody remember that meme that gets passed around where they've got the different steps and you've got the kid at the bottom who's like getting the first place or getting the ribbon put around his neck, and he shakes up the bottle of champagne, he's getting it squirted in his mouth, and he's shooting the horns up, and he's like, yeah, woo, awesome. And then they put him on the step and he's at the bottom. And there's all this other stuff that's at the top. That's pen testing in modern day cybersecurity, folks. You can be happy you got that ethical job. Welcome to the bottom of the poll. Welcome to the bottom of the poll. I'm not disputing this. I'm not disputing that the pen tester skills are valuable. Make no mistake. And again, remember, I've been in this space for a while. I've been pen testing for a hot minute. I was hacking for the US government for a minute or two, Okay? I love pen testing. I love hacking. I do think it's awesome. I'm not disputing that the skills are valuable. The problem is twofold. It doesn't contribute as large to the overall cyber defense mission. And again, if Jerry were here, I know I saw Jerry run off, right? Right? It doesn't contribute to the overall cybersecurity mission with the same return on investment that blue teams do. Listen, blue teams are the frontline defenses. You red teamers, you may not like that answer, but the blue team is fighting the bad guy every day. When I was at one of the companies I worked at in the past, running the SOC team, my incident response team would fight 400 to 500 incidents, not even alerts, incidents a day. Right? So if I'm an organization and I need to invest on my frontline soldiers or my snipers, I'm going to take the frontline soldiers. And that's the way every organization thinks. So nobody's disputing, Bob, that pen tester skills aren't valuable, but they're not more valuable than my frontline soldiers that are defending against the bad guy every single day. They're not more valuable to me than the GRC team, that can write policy and convey to the entire organization why it's important to patch their systems. Because it's not the pen tester. Listen, this is why I try to get you all to focus in on the soft skills, right? Because pen testers don't convey to the whole organization why it's important to patch their systems. Listen, most of you out there, you're thinking, well, yes, I do, Neil. I find a vulnerability. I exploit it. And I tell the organization it's because they didn't patch their system. That does nothing. That does nothing to tell the organization why they need to patch their systems. It does nothing to build the partnership or the relationship to get the organization to understand a process by which they can patch their systems. Instead, you want to throw shade. I hacked your stuff, patch your stuff. And you think that that's enough to get an organization to patch their systems? That's why you're at the bottom of the totem pole, because you don't possess the skills to talk to the organization to get them to understand what the ROI is, how to build a process to do it. Your skills are valuable, but you don't know how to do it the same way that the GRC does, the team does. Right? You don't know what to do because you're too busy hacking domain controllers. You're too busy finding 0 days, right? You're too busy popping shells. This is a heated moment for me, right? Because this is the problem that we have. Your skills are valuable, but they don't mean crap because you can't talk to people. Because you think that just because you popped a shell, that everybody should listen to you, which is wrong. That's why GRC is more valuable to you. That's why the SOC team is more valuable to you. That's why the compliance team is more valuable to you. Get it through your thick skulls, right? Go be a pen tester if you want. Go be a pen tester you want. I hope it makes you happy, but you're going to be at the bottom of the totem pole in a cybersecurity organization. You're going to be fighting with a bunch of other people out there because there's a supply and a demand issue. There are 900 people just like you that want to fit one job role in one organization for a pen tester. You want to know why you can't get a pen testing job? You can't get a pen testing job because organizations aren't hiring pen testers. Organizations are hiring frontline defenders. Organizations are hiring GRC folks. And instead, you want to go out west and you want to go dig gold. You want to go dig gold when everybody else has dug up all the gold. You are modern day gold diggers. You're out there trying to go dig gold when the gold mines are dry. More power to you if you can get it done. But I'm telling you, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. Jeez. Whew. On that note, let's pick a winner. Let's pick a winner. We're gonna pick a winner for Linux 101. We're gonna pick two winners, actually. We're gonna pick two winners for this one. We're gonna pick two winners for this one. Make sure you message me in Discord immediately. Claim your prize. YH, message me in Discord for your Linux 101. Jacob Ferguson, message me in Discord for your Linux 101 vouchers. Thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I can get on a little bit of a high horse sometimes. I get passionate about this stuff. Right? I want everybody to succeed. And I want you to, when I do this, right, sometimes you got to have a little real talk so you understand that maybe your expectations of the world are wrong. Right? And I want you to succeed so bad that I got to tell you how the world works so that you can have a better expectation for how the world is. Because I just want everybody to be successful. I do. Glad I didn't win. Too afraid to message Neil after this. Don't be afraid of me. Don't be afraid. I'm a teddy bear. Carmen's the one you got to be afraid of. Hey Neil, when you were CIO CISO roles, what percentage of your day was actual work, and how was the life work balance? Not great on the life work balance. Cybersecurity, the life work balance is hard in our industry. I don't care where you're at. In this industry, right? Life work balance is hard. We talk about percentage of your day as actual work. Let's talk about what actual work looks like, because actual work looks different when you're at that executive tier versus when you're not, right? Because when you think percentage of your day is actual work, whether you like it or not, going to meetings is actual work, right? In my days, right, of being in organizations, being at that executive tier, I kid you not, I would spend eight of the 12 hours that I worked in back-to-back meetings. Literally, I had a piece of paper that had my meeting schedule on it, and this was obviously pre-COVID, right? And I would literally have that piece of paper because I would go from one meeting in one conference room, then I'd have to walk across a campus or to another building, to another conference room, to another meeting, and I would go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And it was meeting with different teams on different initiatives. It was meeting with different leaders on getting their buy-in on stuff. It was checking in with teams to see where they were at in completing a certain objective, right? And so like when we talk about, what your actual work is, that was my actual work. My actual work was relationship building. And so how much of your percentage of your day was actual work? If you count that, 150% of my day was actual work, right? There was more work to do in a day than I could get to. If you're talking about something like, hey Neil, what percentage of your day was actual work, AKA not being in a meeting, I'm telling you, if I got lucky if I had an hour or two during the actual day to myself. I got lucky if I had an actual hour or two a day to myself. It got to the point where I had to schedule my lunches on my calendar because people would just they'd schedule right over my lunches. I had to start blocking off hours of time. Right? I had to block off hours of time to get real work done because otherwise people would just roll right over from like a meeting perspective, right? So depends on what your definition of actual work is. Let's see what we got here. Let's pick a couple. Let's see. Did the guy? Oh, YH messaged me. All right, awesome. Ah, awesome. Awesome. Here we go. Let's see here. What's give me a second, folks. Give me a second, folks. I'm going to show you why we can't have nice things. I'm going to show you why we can't have nice things. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Everybody see this up here at the top? I got 2 YHs messaging me. I told you all this happened before. Got 2 YHs messaging me. Somebody in this community doesn't have integrity. I told you all, this is how we start to lock down us giving away stuff for free. This is how we start to lock down. This is the second time that this has happened. This is how we start to, this is what will force us to do gatekeeping, is when we have people who lack integrity in these giveaways. Like, I'm inclined to close the giveaway now, right? Because of this. I'll give that person who is incorrectly not the right YH who won the giveaway to own up to it in Discord right now. You do it in private message to me right now, and maybe we'll do the rest of the giveaway. But it is when things like this happen, right? This is what's going to cause us to have to gatekeep stuff because of lack of integrity issues. Like, we love to give stuff away. We work with partners to get free stuff to give away all the time. And then shit like this happens. I don't know who Aaron Rodriguez is, YH. God. I hate to re-roll. I hate to re-roll for somebody who rightfully won because of one bad apple. God. I'm just going to close the giveaway. I'm just going to close the giveaway. We're done with giveaways for today. Actually, we're just getting in the stream. We're just getting in the stream. Like, I'm completely thrown off by this. Like, I appreciate everybody tuning in this morning. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Don't forget that on Monday, we're going to be doing resume reviews. We'll pick everything back up on Monday. Make sure you get your resume review and make sure you get your resume into the channel on Discord, and we'll set up the resume reviews for Monday. Other than that, whether you're on the red side or the blue side or still deciding, keep learning, and we'll see y'all next time.